Hello everyone, I am back with a little episode, and this time I am going to turn this boring boxy station into something, well, still boxy, but maybe less obnoxiously so. And to do that, I'll be adding some plants, maybe some cladding on the station walls, and just trying to sort of sprucing this area up a little. I've already done a couple of things, like plants and neon boxes. Why? Well, quite frankly, I didn't want to put any shop there or a ride. I just wanted something, I don't know, something that looks nice in the dark. Let's go. All right, well, welcome to the time-lapse section. I think this is always the most entertaining. I'm getting a little better at recording myself whilst building. Still a bit daunting, but gotta get that practice in, especially with Planet Coaster 2 coming and my ambition to release content a bit more often. First thing first, simply creating a planter. As you can see, there's a path surrounding the station in a rather squarish way, and that left me with a nice little bit of space where I can create a custom planter bed. And, well, first things first, you just use the hydro beams to create some custom curb. Now with the boundaries in place, of course I wanted to add some mulch so that it would look a bit more like a sort of a raised planter bed. Important with mulch, I find, is that you choose a color that works from a distance. So you don't want it to be too red, you don't want it to be too dark, not too brown. Something that goes a bit more towards yellow, dark earth. I settled for this color. It looks a bit like earth that's been sort of dry. I think that is going to work well for the plants that I have in mind. As always, I rotate every square so that it becomes less of a repetitive look. And, you just make sure you apply it everywhere. It's always fun watching your own building in sped up 4 times. So it just makes everything look so easy and so quick, and as if I did everything just on the fly with no thinking at all. If only that were the case. I think even the most seasoned builder in Planet Coaster knows that pretty much 90% of the stuff you create is something you have in mind and then just trial and error. For this planter bed, I wanted something that didn't look too lush. I wanted it to look a bit stiff, a bit minimal, and maybe even corporate in a way, so that it would sort of complement the station, not detract too much from that. And I don't know, I just wanted it to look clean and new and well maintained, and so that's why I went with this rather than, planter bed filled with lush-looking plants that just are allowed to grow all over the place. So these are plants, all of them from the workshop. These are TMTK items. I forgot who made them, but to the creator I say thank you very much. They are truly beautiful. Always make sure you sort of randomly rotate your objects. If it's something you can raise and lower a bit, then by all means go ahead. This is one thing I really look forward to in Planet Coaster 2, to have scalable objects. That's going to make things appear even more natural. Then I added a bit of ivy, just a bit to sort of bring some more organic, unstructured life to the planters. As you can see, I didn't make it too dense. I just have them rotated in 0 and 180 degree direction. That's pretty much all you can do. We only have one of those in the ivy set. Wish we had more ground cover, but this is what we have to work with. And then I thought to myself, well, I could repeat the sort of planet-like lanterns, or I could make something specifically for this station. And this is where we're going to enter the most tedious part of the building session. You'll see what I mean. I really liked using the neon bars, again, TMTK items, just like 90% of my park. Just kept going with that sort of green yellowish color that is actually derived from the roof, and I explained in the last video why I chose that color. It's so that the ride, when seen from above, as I'm building the park, the people mover ride just blends in more with the grass, and it doesn't stand out so badly, and it makes it more acceptable, not for the peeps on the ground, but for me, the builder. And now I'm stuck with that yellow-green, and I have to kind of apply it to the rest of the structure, the station. Later on the signage. But you know what? I like it. I'm going to stick with yellow-green. As always, you have to give it a bit of a home, so you cannot just have a couple of neon bars sticking out of the wall. It needs to somehow rest on something of a frame, and well, that's what I did here. Sometimes I wish that the gizmo, that thing that allows you to rotate and move things, weren't as humongous. Because especially when working with delicate little beams, you really just cannot see what you're doing. Or I wish it would, you know, once you select red, blue, or green and you move, I'd like for these things to just disappear. But okay, maybe in Planet Coaster 2. Here comes the most tedious thing ever. I want to move something along the wall. However, for some reason, I cannot move it adjacent or parallel to the wall. So instead, I need to bring out the spooky beams to sort of create an anchor. This is a great way, by the way. It's tedious, but using spooky beams, just place a couple of them parallel to one another, or you know, just in a row, and that will anchor your object to whatever direction, orientation you want to have it. This looks great sped up 4 times, by the way. It certainly wasn't great when I was struggling with this. Ah yes, here I wasn't sure if they were spaced out evenly, and I got annoyed by that, so I deleted it again. And then there's something that I always do. I take the first 2, copy paste them, and then delete the one that covers the item that's already in place. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So you select both existing ones, you place them on top of one another, and you only delete the one that already covered the outer one. And now you have 3 objects placed perfectly, balanced. What's the word? Symmetrically. You know, looking at it, I understand that this station is just one big blob of a box, but I do like how the slope became part of the building. So both the queue and the exit path are embedded in the building, so to speak. One thing I won't be missing in Planet Coaster 2 are those ridiculous, humongous bollards at the start of the queue. So, you know, we always try to cover them up with cement, barrels, whatever we can throw at them. Now here's something I do whenever I'm just tired of moving things around on their axis. I make the scenery part of the building if I want to copy it to the other side, and I take the elements, take a wall piece, copy paste, and voila, it'll be exactly on the same height on the other side. And once you're done, you take the scenery pieces out of the building structure and add them to the bigger scenery collection, scenery, what do you call that, scenery group, that's the word. I remember that they rolled this feature out, and it really made a humongous difference. Being able to group scenery pieces and tag scenery pieces onto an existing group, that was helpful. Yeah, then it was time to do something with that big slab of a wall, so I figured, well, it's a ride that takes you around the Spaceland, so why don't we call it Explorer? And then I was thinking, how do I want to align it? Horizontally, diagonally down, diagonally up. I stuck with horizontally. Boring, but at least clearly legible. Oh, look at me being edgy there, replacing a O with a 0 and an E with a 3. That's just how I roll. Tried again, still looked off. No, forget it. Let's just go with horizontal. This is that try on error stuff, you know. You look at it from afar, you think, oh no, it just looks wrong. Nice, I like how that looked at night. Then I thought, well, do we repeat the name? Or do we do something else with that upper blank slate? I came up with this, a bit of cladding. Yeah, this is where I noticed I still had gaps in the actual structure. And I should use the... I still like those pieces, the sort of 1.5 wall piece. With the gap for the track. That's useful stuff. I don't know why those letters, they are triggerable, but they shouldn't behave like that. So ignore their blinking. Now at this point I really start to like what it looks like, but I feel like there's one more thing missing to sort of ground the building. And that's, for lack of a better word, a baseboard. I think that's what you call it. Baseboard. Sounds like something you'd find in sports. Dude, can I borrow your baseboard? Going baseboarding. But it was the finishing touch. It was the one thing where I felt that was lacking. Just having that big white slab of concrete sort of sunk into the ground didn't feel right. I at least wanted to sort of give it a bit more of an anchor. So this worked. Simple, easy. But look at that. And with that, we got to the end of our episode. Just one more look. This is what it looked like before. And this is what it looks like now. And I'm very happy with it. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching.